Hey members, here's another really quick video going over some of the strategies that you can use in the critical reading and grammar sentence correction parts of the SAT-ACT standardized test. I'll go ahead and read through it. Complaining that he couldn't hear hardly anything, he asked Dr. Brown, the octologist, whether he should get a hearing aid. Now I've already taken the liberty of underlining the first incorrect part, everything underlined in pink. Now let's quickly go through the answers. A is no error. B is, instead of couldn't hear hardly, is couldn't hardly hear. So it's the verb adverb order, right? Which is one aspect of this sentence that makes it that much more difficult, right? Or not necessarily difficult, but confusing. C is they chose to rewrite it. Instead of starting out with the progressive form of the verb complain, they start out with the pronoun as the subject. So he complained that he couldn't hear hardly anything. D is could hardly hear anything. Okay, instead of could hear hardly, it's hardly hear. Another adverb verb change. And E is they've chosen, just like in choice C, they've chosen to rewrite it starting off with the conjunction because. So it would be because he couldn't hear hardly anything, he asked Dr. Brown, the octologist, whether he should get a hearing aid. Now, before we do anything, let's talk about this part here, the first part that I've underlined in pink. And as you can see, I've taken the liberty also of putting the adverb anything and the verb couldn't, the auxiliary verb, modal verb, couldn't in a box, right? And here's the reason why I do that. Right? Everybody knows how to use anything. Maybe you don't know that it's an adverb, but you know how to use it. And we also know how to use the modal verb couldn't to refer to ability, and also in some of the conditional sentences, types 0 through 3, I believe. Okay, so this is used to talk about ability or lack thereof, right? And this is to talk about anything, could be anything, right? So a lot of you, right off the bat, you might look at this and say, oh, well, I think he's probably the good answer. It sounds really correct. However, there's a problem. We need to think about our verb adverb agreement here, okay? And that's why I've written this little chart over here. I might get off screen, so sorry about that. But what you can see over here is I have question, and this is a really simple, simplified way of thinking about how to use this particular adverb anything, right? You have question, you have an affirmative answer, and you have a negative answer. When you ask a question with an adverb like anything, the question will be anything. With an adverb, something, and then thing is what I meant to say. Okay, so do you see, for example, do you see anything? That's a question. The affirmative answer, if you do, would be yes, I see something. Okay. And the reason we say that's affirmative because we preface the answer with yes. So yes is the affirmative form. It's the affirmative, yeah, it's affirmative, right? We're affirming something, that we do see something. And then the negative, if you don't see something, which is incorrect, if you say it like that, you would say, no, I don't see anything, right? And how do we know what's negative? Well, we know what's negative because we put no, right? With the lack thereof, seeing anything. We didn't see anything, so that's negative. So you can also think of the words no and not as very strong indicators of negative, a sentence being negative, okay? So when we look at this, we don't have just could, we don't just have, we don't just have could, we have couldn't, the contraction couldn't. So this is a negative. You can think of this as a negative form of the modal verb couldn't, right? Now, from what we did over here, from what we charted out over here, we can also tell that anything is also negative. Now, most of us know in English you can't have a double negative, okay? You can't say, I don't have nothing, right? That's a double negative. Teachers, I'm sure many of you parents, you can remember your teachers or even your mother, your grandmother, your aunt telling you that's a double negative. You can't say that. That's not right, okay? So essentially, we have the same thing here. This is an adverb that's a negative, and this is the modal verb in the negative form because of not, the suffix not, right? Or not. So this sentence is wrong because we have the presence of a double negative. Now, they use the answers. What were the answers with the switched adverb verb order? There were B and D, I believe. Yeah. Now, some adverbs, not all, they can be used interchangeably in terms of order. Some adverbs can go before the verb, and they can go after the verb. That's not absolute. There are some exceptions, right? So, but in this case, this one is interchangeable. It can go adverb verb or verb adverb. It doesn't matter which one is first. So these are just superfluous. They don't really. That's not really the problem. We're not addressing the problem in answers B and D. So we can just go ahead and scratch those off, right? Now let's look here. We know there's an error in there because I've already told you there's an error. Okay, let's look at C. He complained that he couldn't hear hardly anything. Well, we still have the presence of that double negative, the negative modal verb and the negative adverb anything. So we can't have a double negative. So that leaves us with, oh, excuse me, wait a minute. Sorry, one of the ones wasn't D. That I scratched out the wrong one. Okay, it's actually I need to scratch out E. Okay, yeah, because we addressed that in the beginning of the video. Right, we still have the presence of that negative modal verb and the negative adverb here as well. Right, so we can eliminate this one because we know there's an error because I told you. Right, couldn't hardly hear because in this one there was still, I didn't write it, but it would still be the same as follows. It would still have that negative adverb, so that would also be a double negative here. So we scratch that out. This one as well, we have the double negative. So the answer is D. So it should be, we should use the not affirmative form of the modal verb or positive form where we don't have the addition of the not, right? And then have the negative adverb anything. So the answer would be complaining that he could hear hardly anything. So now we've made it to this, a positive and a negative. It's no longer a double negative. Okay. He asked Dr. Brown, the octologist, whether he should get a hearing aid. Now, there's also one more mistake in here. I'm going to give you guys a minute to see if you can see it. Okay. Maybe some of you can't. Maybe you can. Maybe some of you guys are screaming at me through the other side of this video. Right. But the other problem with that, with this particular problem, is that the presence of a positive. Now, what is a positive? A positive is when you have a noun, and then you have a restatement of the noun, a more detailed statement about the noun, right? Kind of like the statement that follows that noun is kind of giving you more information about the noun that it follows, right? And that a positive is, let me choose what color. Okay, here. So we have the noun in this case, which is sorry. Well, the word is escaping me. My labels are escaping me. Oh, my grammar name. Proper noun. There we go. Sorry. Proper noun, Dr. Brown. It's proper noun because anybody's name, a name of a place, or a person is a proper noun, right? Then we have a comma here, right? And then we have a restatement of that proper noun, Dr. Brown, which is the octologist. He's an octologist, right? The mistake is here that we don't have another comma following octologist. So in all the positives, you have the noun, in this case the proper noun, and you have a comma, restatement of what the noun is, being more specific about that noun, followed by another comma. Okay. So that's the video, guys. Hope you liked the video. If you like it, be sure to leave something in a comment or like the video. If you want to discuss with me in more detail about anything that you see on the videos, please feel free to email me at jateducate@gmail.com or shoot me a message through Facebook Messenger. Thanks, guys.